Okay, so Rambam Sefer Misvot Aseh, positive commandments. We are up to Mizvah Ayin Het 78. We're still, of course, in Korbanot, and the Rambam, with a few digressions here and or there, is going through different Korbanot that in and of themselves are independent positive commandments, and going through now all the specialty Korbanot, you can call them. The last one being the one of the Mesorah. Here, Mizvah Ayin Het, Tisha Sivanu, Lehosi Isur Ma Sheyulad or Yivaled Lanu, B'chol Shana V'Shana Mehabehema, to take 1/10 of that which is born from the livestock which we own every single year, V'nakriv Halbaha V'damah V'nochal Hash'ar B'Yerushalayim, and to offer on the Mizbeach certain fats from it and its blood, and to eat the rest of it in the boundaries of Yerushalayim. And that means the owner themselves to eat that korban. V'yu omro, the source for this, it says, V'chol ma'asar bakar bason, zehu ma'asar behema. This mizvah is known as ma'aser of behema, which means 1/10 of your livestock on an annual basis is offered as a korban, but you, the owner, get to eat the most of its flesh, and therefore you're sort of rewarded with your very own ownership while giving them as korban and making them mizvah at the same time, giving back to Hashem. There's another form of ma'aser, וכבר התבהרו משפטי משוואה זו בפרק בעצרה מבכורות. We have a source. Most of the misvot are of the halachot for this mizvah is in the last perek of Masechet Bechorot. ושם התבהר שזאת המצווה נוהגת בחוץ לארץ גם כן ושלא בפני הבית. So there the Gemara explained, interestingly, that this mizvah of Ma'aseh Behema is actually in play outside Eretz Yisrael and v'shelo b'fnei habayit, meaning even though technically there's no Bet HaMikdash. So in Brooklyn, New York, if you're raising cows or sheep in your backyard, technically from the Torah standpoint, we have this mitzvah Ma'aser Behema. However, v'zehu din Torah, aval gazru Rabbanan, the Hachamim decreed and rabbinically prohibited this. Why? Shemei yocheluhu belomum, lest one. Now, if you were to eat it, not in the context of giving a korban and eating the rest of the flesh that wasn't sacrificed on the altar, the only way you're allowed to do that is the bechor. The Ma'aseh Behema has a blemish in it. So Hachamim were concerned you might eat it without a blemish, meaning a whole animal, because we don't have a Bet HaMikdash. You're going to say, all right, what am I going to do with it? I'll eat it. And the problem is you wouldn't be able to. And therefore, Therefore, Hachamim said that only when the Bet HaMikdash exists is one allowed to conduct and fulfill the Mizvah of Ma'aser Behema. Otherwise, you would not be allowed to eat that which is Ma'aser. And it is true that when the Bet HaMikdash existed, that this Mizvah was fulfilled even outside Eretz Yisrael, which means that the owners were obligated to bring the Ma'aser from their Behema to the Bet HaMikdash, and if it was blemished, would be allowed to eat it. But nowadays, Midrabanan, it's no longer in play. Because in the old days, we had the solution of bringing it to the Beit HaMikdash. Here we don't. So a person, but without having this, you can still go ahead and bring it to the Beit HaMikdash. Here, without a solution to do that, or without an option to do that, a person may wrongfully have a non-mum ba'ased behema on his own without bringing it. So therefore, there's no ba'ased behema midrabanan only when there's Beit HaMikdash banui. There's no ba'ased behema without a Beit HaMikdash midrabanan. Misvah Ayin Ted number 79. We have a Misvah to sanctify a Bechor. Bechorot, he gave a plural word, the firstborns. Who's that referring to? First, it means Kilomar lahafrisham ul havdilam lema shera'ui shi'aseh bahem, to separate them and to identify them and to designate them according to what is respectively appropriate for each type of bechor. The source for this is kadeshli kol bechor, sanctify every bechor. Every is inclusive. Umfurash b'Torah shezot behema ubakar vason umin hamor levad. The Torah explains that the Torah said that it meant either a livestock behema from a behema tehorah that you could eat, and it also is referring to a hamor, a mule, a donkey, rather, that is obviously not a kosher animal. This command was repeated a few times regarding specifically a tehorah, kosher livestock. And it's the Misvah that we also are referencing when we read and we say kol ha-bechor, any bechor that's going to be born, etc., etc. And this is what you do with it. So that instruction regarding a korban called bechor is referring to the same Misvah of likadesh, which is to separate and to designate this behemah. V'din zeh shel bechor behemah tehorah shebi'enu lekohanim v'yekribu halbah v'tamah v'yechlu sha'ad besara. So this law of bechor behemah specifically, you're going to have to bring the bechor to the kohen. You're going to have to, it's the kohen on your behalf is going to offer the halev, the fats, certain fats and blood on the mizbeach. The kohen is going to eat the rest of the behemah. So the rest of the laws in Masechet Bechorot. Additionally, in Masechet Hala, which is Mishnah, Masechet Mishnah, it explains that this Misvah of Bechorot is only in Eretz Yisrael. V'lashon Sefer, the Midrash says, Yachol Yehadan Ma'aleh Bechorot B'Chutz La'aretz, may lest you think that a person is going to Ma'aleh Bechorot, which means offer literally a Bechor, Behema, outside Eretz Yisrael. Tamud Lamar, V'achata L'fnei Adonai Elohecha, Ma'asad Dechanecha. It says there in the pasuk that you have to eat before Hashem, which means in the presence of Hashem by the Beit HaMikdash, Ma'asad Deganecha, your Ma'aseh. Memakom she'ata mevi dagan, ata mevi bechorot. Because it said that this statement regarding Ma'aseh Behema in the same context of the Misvah of Bechorot, we learn that the same place that you have to bring the dagan, which means, I'm sorry, not the Ma'aseh Behema, Ma'asad Deganecha, the Ma'aseh of your produce, of your grain. Also, you have to bring bechorot, meaning that it's only applicable in Eretz Yisrael. Hinei pa'esh mitzvah zo eno noheget el ba'aretz ben shaya bet hamikdash kayam ben shelo haya kimo shehu atad bizmanenu zeh. So from here we know that this is a mitzvah that is only relevant in Eretz Yisrael, but it's relevant whether or not there's a Bet HaMikdash, like in our days, which means today one has to acknowledge and deal with the presence of a Bechor Behema in Eretz Yisrael. Kimo Maaser Dagan, just like Maaser still exists in Eretz Yisrael, and we have a way of dealing with it, although it's not given to Kohen Levi. So too, a Bechor still exists. The person has to follow the laws of Bechor, whether it has a blemish or doesn't have a blemish, or different laws, but this is still applicable today in Eretz Yisrael. Good. Mizvah Peh, number 80, on the same topic, but a different Mizvah. Hisha Sivanu Livdot Bechor Adam, Shiyitin Adamim LaKohen. We have Mizvah, another type of Bechor, is the Bechor of a human Jew, firstborn male to the mother, and the Mizvah is to redeem him, and that means to give its monies of redemption to the Kohen. Vihu Omro, the source is Bechor Banecha Titen Li. The Bechor of your children, your human children, give to me. What is this giving of the Bechor to me, to Hashem? The Torah explained, which means you have to redeem it from the Kohen, as if the Kohen already merited the ownership of your child, and you're redeeming him from the Kohen. And thereby you'll be acquiring, this is all from Torah Shebechtav law, it's explicit, you'll be acquiring, you're reacquiring, you can say, your son from the Kohen with 5 Serah is a measurement, a silver measurement, 5 coins. Vihu Omro, and the source to that specific part of the Mizvah is Ach Padot Tifteh et Bechor Adam. You must redeem. That's the way we know it. We know this Misvot, Pidyon Haben. We get invited to it, right? This does not involve women. Women are not obligated. They can't be a Bechor, nor is it fall upon them regarding their child. This is one of the list of the Misvot that a father is obligated to his son. The Mishnah Masechet Kedushin, which lists all the Misvot that a father, 6 of them, the father is responsible for his son, and this is one of them. A Levi, which means anyone from the tribe of Levi, which means Kohen or Levi, are not obligated in the Misvah of Bechor. Let's throw in one more today because it's on the same topic. Misvah Pe'al, the short one, number 81. What about that hamor that we mentioned? We have to redeem it. We have to redeem it with a sheep only. Not with anything else. So there's a Bechor from a hamor, has to be redeemed with the sheep. And then the sheep is sanctified, that goes to the Kohen. The source is hamor tivde. Right, the firstborn hamor has to be redeemed with a sheep. So as with the previous Misvot, the details of it are expounded upon in the Masechet of Bechorot. And also this Misvah, no one from Shevet Levi is obligated, and meaning a Kohen or Levi is not obligated to deal with a Bechor that's a Hamor. Baruch Adonai Le'olam. Amen ve'amen.